Toyota car.
On this episode of Grassroots Garage, we have Jason and Ruby. You should remember Jason and his stunning RX4 from every Rotary Revival wrap-up video. Geez, say that 3 times quick. And his feature from way back. This footage was actually filmed by Jason's son after Pete threw him a camera and said, "Do your best, mate." Yep, you've got some talented kids there, Jason, because he nailed it. Ruby has seen some changes, but there's more to come, so consider this part 2 of a series. I do the voiceovers around here, Pete. Pull your head in, mate.
Welcome to Grassroots Garage. Today you got Jason and his beautiful RX4 Ruby. Jason, thanks for your time, man.
Hi, Pete.
I'm really well, mate. How are you?
Good, man.
Tell us about your car.
Well, they've seen it before. Mazda RX4 1974 model coupe. Yeah, that's the technical term for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as WAR004.
We've been following this build for a long time, and you are going to have to be subscribed. Now, I went on my YouTube the other day, and we had 100,000 views in the month, right? 93% of those views were from people who aren't subscribed. So I need you to subscribe to the channel, because that helps me then ring companies and go, hey, we want to give Jason a free prize pack, or we want to give him some like, or engine or whatever we
9-inch diff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like, you know,
C4 auto.
If I had 1 million subscribers, I could hook him up with a diff hookup, but I can't at the moment. That's right. Yeah, so hook us up with a subscribe so that I can then hook the boys up with free gear. He's given up his time to come out here and chat to us.
So's Pete.
Yeah, well, you know, give me some free stuff. I'll take some free. I'll take a billet boss engine.
I'll give you the jumper off my off my back.
Yeah. So that's what I need from you, and I would appreciate if you could tag some mates and say subscribe to his channel, because he needs the love.
I've only got a running tune on it, and it really needs a proper tune in it now, because you know, it's just been running rich, and you don't want to start running for too long.
So take us right back to when we did episode 1 with this car.
Oh yeah.
So what happened to that motor that was in it?
We blew it up on the dyno. You know, simple as that. It was a hot day. We should have babied it a little bit more, but you know, for the planets didn't align, and we had some sloppy apex seals and no premix, and basically it was a recipe for disaster. And we went to go put 14 PSI on it, and it boost just spiked, and I think it went to about 16, 17 PSI, and that was enough to let go. We chipped an apex seal, and the heartbreak started. But literally a week after, I went, you know what, stuff it, pulled that out, searched for a Cosmo.
Yes. Yep.
So here we are now. We've got this is a JC 13B Cosmo motor, which has been the motor that's in it's got about 40,000 Ks. When I got it, completely pulled apart, inspected, internals were perfect, and with such a good starting point, I just went, let's do the whole lot. So it went straight down to South Coast Rotary, and Kevin did a turbo Bridgeport, started it, exhaust ports modification, oil pressure modification. What else did he do? Inlet throttle body modifications. So you started it. Oh yeah, so it's got a twin plate direct clutch in it. Still running Series 5 gearbox, which will come out, and we'll go to R154 Supra box and 9-inch.
So what made you choose South Coast Rotary?
Kevin's got a really good reputation in the industry. From making his power seals, from his machine work, from his time at the track. He's I can't speak highly enough of Kevin. He really he helped me when I wanted to get the car ready for my daughter's formal, and then subsequently my son's formal. You know, this one Saturday he just pulled out all the stops. I ended up blowing the diff on the dyno. I said, mate, if you can do me a favour, I'll be back here in an hour and a half. That's 2 hours. I came back to Sydney, grabbed the diff, went down back to Wollongong, fitted a new diff in his driveway, right? And I said, if I can get it all back together by 6 o'clock, will you do a big one and put a running tune on it for me? And he did it. You know, so you know, that was a massive moment for not only me but for the family. And yeah, he's got my respect for that. These are original 3-piece 18-inch FRs.
Oh, they're originals, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
The only thing about these wheels is that they don't have the original. They've been restored. Yeah. But they don't have the original dome nuts on them.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. So you've replaced them with these ones. Yeah. When my camera decides to focus, there it is. Yeah, man. What brakes are these?
On the rear are the original RX4 hubs. Yeah. It actually pulls up really well, this car. On the front, Series 4-5 calipers with just standard discs. Yeah, man. Yeah, pulls up great. Like I can be at 120 k's and just stop within 60 metres. You know, goes right. Yeah. I wouldn't want to race with them though.
Nah. I mean, quarter mile, no worries. You just wouldn't want to do circuit racing. Yeah. And tell us about these. Tell us about WAR004.
Well, WAR300 is, I guess, my inspiration for the WAR number plate. As well as I've done a lot of time playing paintball. Yeah. You know, playing war games and being in that mindset of, you know, I was at a time thinking about joining the army. Okay. And you know, I've got, my grandfather's been through a war, was in the military for a long time, and he went to war when he was 15 years old. And it's just one of those things that, you know, when it just resonated, you know. And I saw the RX3, there was a Valiant somewhere. There's a lot of tough cars that have got, like, say, WAR400. That was a Valiant. It's just a tough number plate. I love it, man. Yeah. I had a couple of plates on hold at the registry, and I had to choose between a couple, and I just pulled. That's what it spoke to me, and I had to have it.
See, in F1, I don't actually think I got to go in the car. Nah. The first time I went in this car was at Revival. Yeah. That's 40k. Yes. Yeah, man, look at that Falcon too. Cool.
How many nice cars are out today?
Oh yeah, yeah, Sunday. Yeah. I just want you to know all the things I do to get the shots. I'm squashed in the back of the coupe. Hey, bashing my head on the roof here. Let's go right back and we'll start at the very start. Tell us about your first car.
The first car I bought for myself was a Honda Civic, EG Honda Civic.
Nice.
Silver, modified it, spent too much money on it. As they say, too many dollars and not enough cents. Yeah. You know, 17s, suspension work. I love the VTI and the Hondas. Yeah, hairdresser's car. Yeah. Is what I called it back then, you know, when I had hair. Yeah. And Yeah, that was a cool car. I thrashed the ass off that thing for nearly four years. You know, from Greystanes to St Leonard's and back, every day. Just absolute weapon of a car. Just did not fail me. You know, a weapon in the fact that I was 18 and it was just, you know, a cool car at the time to have, and I felt like the king of the kids, you know. Beating GDI, what do you call them, Suzuki Swift GDIs, and they were my main rival, you know. Some would get me, some didn't, but yeah, fun car.
Beautiful,
still
man.
Fun.
Yeah, they're
still
still
a lot of
good
fun.
little cars, mate, definitely.
Yeah.
So give us a couple of the highlights after the EG Civic. What did you get into next?
When I had that car, I bought this car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that you know, it came up for sale from my brother's best man, and yeah, Brendan and his wife fell pregnant, and they needed some money, and the first thing to go, unfortunately for him, was the car. Fortunately for me, I had some money, and I bought it.
How good's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. It cost me about, I think, 4,300 back in the day. Back in in 1996 or 98.
Yeah.
We had the car had been, you know, it had been sort of in the group. My brother actually owned the car, bought it for $350. Took the grill off it, and then, which is all he wanted for the car because it was a mint grill.
Yeah.
And then sold it to his best mate Brennan, and for the same amount, for $350, I think.
Yeah.
And then Brendan put a ton of money into it, and it had a turbo motor in it. Did the interior. I didn't like any of it, but then I got it back. When I originally got it, I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So I ended up starting it, and I got the motor running and put the car on stands, and the car, I was just mucking around with it, and it happened to go wide open throttle, and I couldn't stop it in time. Next thing you know, there's coolant pissing out everywhere. I don't know what I did to it, and I didn't really care because I didn't pay that much for it. I knew I was going to redo the engine. And my older brother at the time he'd just built a Series 5 motor, a bit of a bitzer, but it had Series 4 rotors, Series 5 plates, had, you know, good seals, and was hoping to race that, and I ended up buying it off him for $1,000 because he needed money, and I just happened to have a little bit more money. So that was the engine that stayed in the car for nearly 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
With the top mount.
Yeah, the one with the top mount.
Yep.
Yeah, well, nearly 20 years really.
From episode 1.
Yeah. And she was, the motor, lo and behold, you know, the motor wasn't built perfectly, which we found out after we popped it. You know, so yeah, lucky we didn't put boost in it early. 15 years earlier, because probably wouldn't be here, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But it lasted that long, just mucking around, driving around the streets, and
Mate.
you know, it never really got thrashed, but it served its purpose, and we're here.
Definitely, man, definitely. All right, so let's go. I've built you a big shed.
Yep.
You've got an unlimited budget. Tell me what you're putting in the shed next to Ruby.
I've already got it. I've already got a couple of them.
Yeah.
The first is my Infiniti RX7.
Yeah. Yep.
So 1989, 1990, Infiniti RX7, one of 600. I'd have to have one of every rotor. You know, everything custom, no standard cars whatsoever. I hate standard cars. It's got to be messed with. I would be looking at, couldn't get past a Lambo.
Yeah.
Yeah, a turbo Lambo.
Nice. Like a newie?
Nonetheless. Oh yeah. Like,
Yeah.
You know those 2,000 horsepower Hurricanes, the twin turbo things.
Yeah.
Some weapon like that, some exotic weapon that you know does over 300 mile an hour.
Yeah.
That you could never use on the street. Man, I'd love to have a classic old Super Snake, GT500 Super Snake, but the remake one, the one they make over in Texas, I think they make it. It's called a Super Snake.
Nice.
It's got about 700 horsepower. Just everything back to that custom style of that era.
Yep.
I've got a H3 Hummer, on 24s.
Of course, yeah.
I'd love to put a LSA in that, supercharge that, and go back.
Do it.
Go back to the 4x4. And my son's he's into it, So you know, there'd be all the kids' cars, the RX4 sedan, RX2 Capella, the RX4 wagon, the FC, the Lambo.
Oh, mate.
I think I'd easily spend a lot of money, I reckon.
Which leads me into my next question. There was one we didn't mention there. Let's talk about, there's a little item you've got at home with 2 wheels that I am absolutely in love with. Tell us a little bit about the history of the bike.
So the Suzuki RE5. So this is a wild sort of story for me and my son. We did a boys trip up to, well, let me start off firstly with, I didn't know anything about this bike. I just happened to see it. A friend of mine, Ross from Dynamic Metalcraft Australia, he's got a RE5 custom bobber style RE5, and it's awesome. Cut to footage of that. And I was just doing some research. I knew all of about 5-10 minutes of knowledge of that bike, and then I started researching it, and I just happened to stumble on one for sale, which it was a for sale ad, but then it turns out it was actually a giveaway. So I found one, and lo and behold, I didn't have to think about it very long. It took me all of like a minute to decide that, hey, I wanted it. So keyboard warrior style, jumped straight on it. And as the story goes, I rang the son and said, hey, pack your bags, we're going on a boys trip, and we're off to Cairns.
That.
Yeah, so basically Cairns is basically that away.
Right. It's like we filmed this before.
And and so it's far north Queensland. The bike's located in the Atherton tablelands, and basically in the middle of a rainforest. So, you know, this guy's house, Mike. Shout out to Mike. He was giving away the bike because he had to shut up shop in Australia and move overseas to look after his factory.
Oh yeah.
And he ultimately said, "Come on up, stay the night, do what you got to do. Bike's yours. I'll look after you." Can't thank him enough. It was I'll cut to footage of photos and whatnot of the trip, but this thing literally was a hunt, you know. His property had about 5 acres on his property, and you'd had to get there, you'd have to go up about 2,000 feet, you know, don't quote me on that, but you'd have to go all the way up this mountain, and then the bike was buried on the other side of the mountain on his property. And so we fished it out, and just wild, you know, you have to see it to believe, you know, where it was. And grabbed a bunch of other little trinkets off Mike. He was a crazy rotor nut, had been for years, you know, and he'd raced at Bathurst, and you know, had all these RX7s, Series 1s, 2, 3s, RX8s. His wife had an RX8. He had his RE5, but he also gave me a couple of rotary remote control rotary motors.
Oh yeah.
So I've now got 4 of those little motors.
So unlimited budget. What's this car look like?
This car is a repainted because she's tired now. You know, she's painted 5-6 years ago now, so she's got a few battle scars. WAR004's been through a few wars. It would be a Glazeret paint job, 25k paint job that we'll do in-house. And everything for this car will be done in-house. Just to explain what Squad Customs does is, it's just about me and my squad, my kids mainly, you know, and anyone that wants to help join in and do stuff, I'll then reciprocate and work on their cars as well. So it's more of a mateship type of deal. I'm not out there to be a professional shop, but more of a culture type of thing. And to do something, you know, pretty epic with my children. So that's the main motivation. but this car as an ultimate is, I've already got, I've acquired a 20B turbo motor. You see a set of compound turbos on that. To the goal with that would be to have a 1-to-1 ratio car, so 1,000 plus horsepower for a 1,000 kilo car, which this is sitting at 1,050 kilos now. And you see it with a T400 box, which I got 9-inch diff, all the supporting mods, E85, full tilt, you know, full tilt.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate for me, you know, and street drivable, engineered, which this whole car as it is engineered.
Yeah.
You know, so we take everything out of this, already has a home, which will go into my either the son's car or the wagon that we've got, direct bolt in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my ultimate.
So sick, man. See, I don't see why you can't have the 2 turbo pipes, right?
Yep.
And you've just got 40 or 60 psi rated valve or something actuator, something that, or not like a wastegate. I don't know, something that when you're at a certain throttle position, a certain boost, a certain revs, it just goes, okay, cool, I'm going to turn that turbo off and put this one on.
Well, that's what it does.
Right.
That's essentially when there's an explanation of how compound turbos work and used very successfully on diesels.
Yes.
And there's now, you know, with the technology that we've got now, and the fuel systems, there's a video on Facebook. Sorry, it's on Facebook as well as YouTube, with I think it's a fuel tech drag car.
Yes. Yeah.
It's got a billet 20B compound turbo, making compound turbo setup, making about 2,000 horsepower.
Oof.
So it's doable, but you know, is it streetable? No.
Not a 2,000 horsepower.
But then when you look at it, you go, okay, well, what's the one thing that people hate about driving rotaries with big turbos on the street? It's laggy. You can't use them. You can't use that horsepower until you get up, you know, around 6,000-7,000 RPM, and then you've only got, you know, a couple of thousand revs to do your business.
And it's walking. It's made it spinning.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. You've got no traction. So what better way to pick up that that lag? Yeah, you can hit it with NOS, illegal.
Yep.
Yeah, you can E85, expensive
and hard
and hard.
Like, you know.
Yeah, you can. I would still ultimately have run it with E85, and that will hopefully get easier to acquire with the compound turbo systems now, and the fuel systems. They're monitoring the turbos.
Okay.
The turbo speed. So you're tuning based off that. I haven't quite worked out the nut and bolts. Of the whole lot. Yeah. But this is where, you know, we're learning to be tuners. We're learning along the way.
Yeah.
We don't know everything. And you know, that's what the squad's about, really, is enjoying yourself at the same time as you're learning and building cool shit with your friends and family.
Yeah. And
so I don't know how it's all going to go, but that's the goal would be to have a 20B with a compound turbo setup.
So
Yeah. Because everyone's done the you know, GTX42, which is what this car's got on, and put the GTX45 Garrett turbos on it.
Yeah.
It's a big turbo.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
To make use of that 2,000 to 3,000 RPM down low, which is what you want to use on the street with an auto, like it's instant power. You then have to get it to the ground.
Yep.
You know, you'd only ever really use that horsepower on the dyno or down the track. You know, and let's face it, some of these cars that are running 350, 400 horse are a 10-second car because they got it to the ground.
Yep.
You know,
that's right.
But that's not my ultimate. You asked me what my ultimate.
Ultimate. This is it. We're doing unlimited budget. This is we're dreaming budget, now. This is it.
You know, hey, I reckon I'm a quarter of the way there. I reckon I've still got at least, you know, even though I've got the parts, it's a long way to go with the machining and the, you know, that you got to have that perseverance. We'll make our own manifolds. You know, we'll do as much as we can with the diff and the gearbox. You know, to learn all the way through. Now that we've set the shop up, and just see what comes out of it. You know.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully it works.
So sick. I'm pumped.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I mean, the R&D, just for the R&D, is going to be awesome. Mate, you know.
It might take a few more years.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'll still have a 600 horsepower JC Cosmo monster to drive around,
Oh,
or the
sure.
FC, or
Yeah.
the other one. So
Sick.
and my older brother, Shane, and he's on one of the episodes with the Tommy Mackinnon,
Yeah, the Evo.
Evo 6.5,
Oh, magic.
and it's whether it's been my car or his cars. I've always been working on cars. I've always, you know, I've spent a lot more time actually on his cars than I have on my car. It was only really in the last few years that I've spent a lot of time on mine, and we've got a few cars in the stable now that we're going to put some time and effort into and make some pretty nice cars out of them. So some of the cars that, you know, his was a RX4, it was a 74 model as well, but a sedan that I went to my year 10 and year 12 formal with.
Yeah.
What else? These are we've always had RX4s. You know, in between that, our mates have had rotors. There've been RX4s as well, but RX3s. So standout cars. This is my supercar. You know, if you ask me my dream car, which would come up, this is my dream car. So outside of this, we had spent a lot of time with Oran Park, you know, in the family, and you know, being out there for racing, a lot of time at Eastern Creek. So there's a lot of standout moments, and that's the one thing I love about cars. I've got a lot of memories attached to being around cars and being at race days and events, and I look back at those car moments because I'm always there with my family. I'm always there with my kids. You know, and it gets, you have that emotional attachment to it, which is the best. You know, if it wasn't that, it'd be fishing, it'd be, you know, hunting, or you know. So, but for me, even food, you know, where you think of places around the world, and I digress a little bit, but you think of all the amazing places that you've eaten food. I think of all the amazing places where I've taken the car or taken my family, and it's attached to cars, 100%. You know, or to fuel. You know, the smells of castor oil and E85 and methanol and avgas, and man, the whole spectrum. It's essentially a sensory thing, you know. And man, I've had 1,000 plus awesome moments that I can drift back to and talk about for forever, for as long as the days are long, you know.
True story. I was coming out this morning out to Warragamba, and I was following the Barjat brothers in that, mate, that red RX3 is just mint. But anyway,
RX3 Don.
Oh, mate. And I've pulled out and I'm behind. I've gone,
Shout out to the boys.
I'll make sure that they're happy with us putting this in there. And so I've pulled out, I'm in the Jemmy, windows down, and I've come out because I'm just near my house. So I've just warmed the car up, just got it driving. And I started smelling the road, and I'm like, is my car on fire? Is something wrong here? But it was the rotaries were in front of me, so the castor oil and the E85, and it was just, mate, you know, there's nothing like it. It was so good.
Nothing like it. And like even remote control cars with it as kids, with the castor oil, like there's so many things attached to the fuel and the smells and the noise, the vibration, everything, just overload.
100%.
It's addictive.
With the rotary guys, when I ask this question, they always have one. What was give me your first rotary memory? Everyone's got one.
A lot of the cool things in my life, you know, are shared with my older brother. And his good mates, you know, with lifelong mates. The thing that got me hooked was his car, but also a very good friend of ours, Nick Angus, his father's red RX4 Coupe. And you know, I got, when it arrived, I must have been like this little giggling school kid, you know. Oh, it's so cool, you know. Can I take it for a drive? I just got my L's. Just got my L's, right? And this is back in '96, and he's thrown me the keys and goes, take it for a drive. I went missing for like half an hour.
That's right.
They were going to call the cops on me, thinking that I'd, you know, taken off with the car or something bad had happened. And man, I have very vague memories of it. I remember getting thrown the keys. I don't remember the drive, but I remember everything rotary about that car. That's when it sunk in, you know, that this is This is it.
You're hooked, eh?
This is it.
Yeah.
Had to have it.
Yeah.
My daughter's gone to her formal in this. My son's gone to his formal with this. So it's in our blood.
Sick, man.
You know.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I reckon that young bloke just before, I reckon you've just made this little kid, the poor guy, he didn't know what hit him. The poor guy's going to spend his life chasing rotaries, you know? Like
I know how to spend other people's money.
You're sitting there, just give it a rev, you know? Like, yeah. The rest of your life, you're just going to be like, man, rotaries are the best, you know? Like, it's so good.
They are, man.
Yeah. If you found yourself with a couple of spare hours, where would you go? What's your favourite driving road?
If I was to get out of here and just want to tune out, I'll probably drive up to the Hawkesbury Lookout.
Yes, yeah.
I like just driving up the Hawkesbury Lookout. I'd go to Wiseman's Ferry is a good one.
Yep. Magic Drive.
Magic Drive. You'd have to head to Wollongong as well.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and take the freeways and the byways and you know. But yeah, anywhere where there's no Sydney traffic. I think is a good place to be.
Yeah, see, Galston Gorge is almost gone
the
now.
Gorge, yeah.
You know, like it was one of my favourites, but it's so busy now. It's like a main thoroughfare.
Yeah.
So you can never get some space on there.
No, and driving this thing, you need a bit of space.
Yeah.
You know, it's not one for tight turns and it stops, but man, you need a good stretch of road just to stretch its legs.
Yeah, man.
So, and even though it's still not on full tune. You know, we probably pushed it so far max probably 6.5 psi. It's a different beast, man.
That's sick.
We lifted the rev cut from 5, which has been on 5 for a few months, up to 6.5, and man, 1.5 up k RPMs. Just the difference, you know, is phenomenal.
Yeah. So
when you think, okay, you times that by 3. Times that by 3. So if it's got 150 horse or 200 horse, times by 3, there's your 600 horse.
Dude.
Which is what the engine, that were the specs, that was the goal of 600 on E85. Is what the motor was built to as a goal. And about 450 to 480 on pump 98. So with all the supporting mods, that's my expectation out of the motor. You know, we've got this gearbox is tired, so the next thing to do is put the R154 Super box in it with the Marlin Crawler upgrades, which I'm just about to hit by it now.
Sick.
On the upgrades. We've already got the box and it could go straight in, but knowing the weaknesses of the boxes, there's no point putting it straight in. You know, just baby this one and give it a couple of months and we'll get that box in. New tail shaft, and I've already started building a 9-inch for it as well.
Nice, man.
Yeah, so
beautiful.
There's a bit, and that's future proofing it as well for the 20B.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the 1-to-1 car.
Yeah.
Oof. Yes, but I'm going to leave that. We better leave some for part 3. Mate, you're a legend. I really appreciate your time. Jason, thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Stay tuned for part 3. So here we are again, Pete.
Here we are.
So this is Pete's 4th episode of Grassroots.
It's the best film car he's ever had.
It's got the walnut trim.
Oh, your new gear knob from Denmark.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, don't about this car in front of us. No, what car? No. Tell us more about the duck, Pete. This will be the start of the episode. A little flutter there, that was good. Just at the end of the episode, massive thanks to Pete for the use of the duck as the film car on this one. Thanks, mate, appreciate it.
No worries, pal. I think I bought a shirt, a couple of little trinkets.
Okay.
And that's an air freshener.
Shout out to Bratbox. Send us some goodies and I'll give them away on the show.
Double XL.
Yeah.
Boys incorporated. Beats an XL.
Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.
Perfect, man. Perfect.